Welcome, financial freedom members, to this special video that I told you guys I was going to put out for you. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I'm going to spend a few minutes going over the flow of money today. For those of you that are in pursuit of wealth, this is the key to understanding how to build lasting wealth. So we are obviously the working class. You work hard for what you make. You go in every day, you spend your hours and trade them for some dollars, and you're hoping to make something with that. So since we work so hard for our money, it's very important to understand the flow of money, because if you don't understand the flow of money, you'll never know where your money went, and you'll always wonder why you don't have anything left. This is the tool that you're going to use, your balance sheet. You may have heard about this before. You probably understand a little bit about what a balance sheet is, but you never really thought about using it yourself. You already use part of this. On the left side you have income and expenses. That's basically your budget. That's really all we're talking about here. And on the other side is liabilities and assets, and we'll hit each one of these very briefly to just give you an overview of what it is. It's very easy to understand, but it is the key to understanding wealth. So income, basically that's just a list of all the income sources that you have. If it's your job, or if you sell things online like eBay or Craigslist, or if you have a side job, trimming trees or cutting grass or painting cars or whatever it is you do, anything that is a source of income goes in this list. The next piece is expenses. This is just basically a list of all your bills, everything that goes out of your house. Of course, mortgage or rent, utilities, car payments, everything you spend your money on. It's just expenses. Everything that goes out is considered expense. So that's entertainment as well. Going out to eat, groceries. Liabilities is just a list of all your debts and all the money that you owe anybody. So that's not only your mortgage or car debts, but it's also if you owe Uncle Joe any money, it's also considered a liability. It goes in this list. So you're going to keep track of all the list of all the debts and money that you owe other people. Your assets are a list of all your valuables. And basically, houses and cars, those are assets. We understand that. Investments, also cash, collectibles such as antiques, stamp collection, coin collection, things that are actually worth money, they consider to have value. They are considered an asset, and they will go in this list. So that's the four basic pieces of the balance sheet and how it works. It's very simple. It's just a list of income and expenses on one side and a list of assets and liabilities on the other side, so that you can understand what the state of your money currently is. And we can go over this in more detail in the future. For now, I just want to give you an overview, give you an understanding of the flow of money. So money flow has three basic paths that it can take. And we can see that money flow going through the balance sheet. So path number one is your income comes into your house. That's the first part of the path. And with that income, it goes out through expenses. This is path number one. This is the entire path. So income into the household, income out of the household through expenses. This is known as the poor mindset of money. And how they spend their money, and we got a few points here. 98% of the income is spent after their essential expenses are covered. 76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That's 3/4 of Americans. That is nuts. 47% of Americans can't save any money at all. That's almost half of Americans that say they can't even save a dime. So how they spend their time, they spend an average of 9.5 hours a day sleeping, 5 hours per day on leisure activities, and the majority of that leisure time is spent watching TV. And yes, there are some educational programs on TV, but by and large, they're not going to help you build wealth. That's just the truth. The poor mindset result is you're left with nothing. Your house is empty. Your vault is empty. There is nothing left. Everything that you've taken in goes out in expenses. That's path number one, and I'm pretty sure that all of you watching this don't want to follow that path. Path number two, your income comes into the household. Your household then takes that money, pays your expenses. We got to pay those expenses. We have things we got to live, so that's definitely a necessary part of the path. Now the difference in this one is that next part of this path, number 2, that they're going to take that money after expenses, whatever's left over there, they're going to put it into liabilities. They're going to put a mortgage down, they're going to get a car, maybe a second car. They're going into debt. Maybe they got credit cards and they got all kinds of credit card debt. They invest their money into liabilities. That is known as the middle class mindset of money. It's how they spend their money. 60% of Americans can't even cover an emergency. That's just crazy. I even saw statistics later that says that the majority of these people couldn't even cover a $400 emergency if it came up right now. That's just insane. That is not a lot of money. 46% of Americans save less than 5% of their income. They're saving something, but it's maybe up to 5% of their income maximum. That is nothing. 22% of Americans are confident they can retire. If they're only spending 5% of their income, I don't know where their confidence is coming from. I think they're probably trying to rely on Social Security, which we all know is broken, is going broke faster and faster as the years go by. Don't think that's something I'd want to count on. How they spend their time: 23 hours a week online. They spend over 46 hours per week at work, probably only get paid for 40 of those hours. You probably work even more hours than that. They spend more time planning vacations versus planning for retirement. So it takes more energy to plan for retirement, I guess, than to plan a vacation, because a vacation is something, I guess, they'd say they want to get away. I understand you work hard. You know, we spend a lot of hours at work, and we just need to get away. We need a vacation. But the result of the middle class mindset is that money just appears into a black hole. They just keep pouring their money out, whatever's left, into liabilities, and it just never seems to end. You can never seem to get out of the vicious cycle of debt. It's very hard to get out of once you're in. Believe me, my wife and I have taken that journey. It was a difficult journey. We did make it out of the black hole, thank God, but it is a very difficult path. I don't think anybody really wants to take this path, because as you can see, there is no wealth creation inside of this path. So path number 3, the income comes into your house. Again, goes out through expenses, the things we have to pay to live. But the big difference here on the next leg of this path is that they take the income that's left after expenses and they put it into assets, things that are going to grow in value. So when I'm talking about assets that grow in value, I'm not talking about cars. Even though they are an asset, they have value. It does add to your net worth, but over time they depreciate. We want assets that are going to grow over time, not depreciate. But that's what the wealthy mindset is all about with their money. How they spend their money is they spend less than 25% on housing. So those of us that aren't doing this mindset, we need to pay attention to what the wealthy are doing with their money. Less than 25% is spent on housing. Less than 10% of their money is spent on entertainment. And less than $15,000 they spend on a car, and they always buy used. Warren Buffett, he won't spend more than $15,000 on a car. Whether it's new or used, that's his limit, because he understands that the cost of money to be able to put it into something that will grow is very, very important. And how they spend their time: they spend 3 hours a day on self-improvement. They spend less than 20% of their time on leisure activities, and they spend their time reducing their cash outflow and increasing their inflow. So take a couple of advice points from the wealthy here. They spend more time trying to improve their life, trying to invest their money in things that grow, learning about how things grow, and putting their money in there, trying to reduce as much cash going out as they can while increasing as much cash incoming as they can. And we can go over more of this in detail in future videos, but the wealthy mindset result is that money is going to grow out of sight. It doesn't grow out of sight tomorrow or in a week or next year. It takes time. It takes patience. It's like trying to plant a garden and wait for something to grow. A tree takes forever to become fully grown and bear fruit. This is our mindset that the wealthy have. It takes patience. It takes time. But with persistence over time, you will absolutely become wealthy. And it's about wealth. It's not about income. Income and wealth are not synonymous here. Having a high income does not make you wealthy. I know people who make well over 100,000 a year that are broke because they don't invest their money in assets. They spend as much as they make, and that is not wealth. It's not about how much you make, it's how much you keep. That's what matters. So anybody at any level, no matter how much money you make, you can become wealthy if you're willing to do what wealthy people do. Start studying what wealthy people do. The wise wealthy people, not the high income earners. We're not looking at Hollywood stars. We're not looking at professional athletes. They are not good examples of wealth. They're high income earners. High income earners are definitely different than wealthy people. And I'm not saying that high income earners can't be wealthy. They absolutely can, but a lot of the times they get caught up in the trap that I make a lot of money so I can spend a lot of money. And they live for now instead of living for later. So the bottom line here really is, if you're willing to do today what others won't do, then tomorrow you're going to be able to do what others can't do. And that's really kind of the bottom philosophy of Dave Ramsey and of Financial Peace University. It's a philosophy of the people who are wealthy, the Warren Buffetts of the world, who didn't start out wealthy but started out and educated themselves in investments and how to make their money grow, and they dedicated their life to learning these things, and they continually put their money into their assets and other investments that they learned about. So I encourage you today to go out to learn about how to create wealth. Read about other wealthy people like Warren Buffett, and people who are doing things, who are making it successful out there. So anybody who is in a step ahead of you somewhere that's going in the direction that you want to go in, it's a good idea to start watching those people, start talking to those people, start learning what they're doing. But look at the end result. What are the wealthy people doing? How are they creating wealth? They're using this balance sheet. They understand the balance sheet very well. The income they come in, they want to preserve as much as they can, not put it out in liabilities, but put it in something that's going to grow and return more income back to them. That is the road to financial freedom. That is the pursuit of a life that is free from worry, free from financial woes, free from anything that you guys are probably worried about right now, because most of the worries that we probably have right now are related to money. If you take those worries out, imagine what you can do with your life. So I encourage you guys to, again, just follow those wealthy people out there, those people who are going in the direction that you want to go in. And we'll cover more of this stuff in depth in future videos. Until then, God bless.